Hi, my name's Jen. Welcome to my channel, All My Plants. Today I have plant chores. I think I said last video I was kind of waffling about what I was going to do this video, but yeah, it's plant chores. And maybe an update or two. This is my Philodendron Jose Bono, and this is the most recent leaf it put out. And why it has that red on it, I couldn't tell you. Seems fine. It's been that way. It's been out for a couple weeks. And it's just hanging out like that with weird red marks. I don't know. And then right there, that's the Philodendron Columbia. And I was complaining because it kept giving me shredded leaves. I don't know if you can see that under there. Or just leaves that weren't very big, but then it spit this one out. I don't know. That plant does what it wants to. Right there. Right there is where it lives forever now. Because it seems happy there. So that's where it lives. The Philodendron melanochrysum up here, stuck leaves. The previous one was stuck. The one that's come out now has kind of died back. It needs a pull extension already. I just put it on there. So that's where that's at. Down there, that is the Dean McDowell, Philodendron Dean McDowell. Let me pull it up here. I don't know what's up with this plant. I guess it hates its pot. It's growing up now. It was growing across, and now it's just decided to attempt to defy gravity. And since I put it in here, it's put out that leaf, which is lovely. And it's working on this one currently. Sorry, we're backlit, but I mean, it's beautiful, beautiful. If it keeps on with that though, I will stick it on a pole. I don't know where it thinks it's going, but it's going. Does it hate the soil that much? I don't know. The Homolamina in Leca, or no, I'm sorry, it's in Pond. I don't know why, I just mix the two all the time. It hates it. It does not like it. It's been in here long enough now that I think it's fair to say that it drinks more than I can keep it hydrated. I overfill the reservoir all the time at this point, and I just overfilled it yesterday. Can you see the water level in there bobbling around? I don't know. It has put out one decent looking leaf. It's got another one right there, somewhere in there. You can maybe see it has a dried tip already, a little crusty. And I mean, it's working on a few that look okay in here. we're gonna ride it out. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. I'm not taking it back out. The slots in this net pot are very, very narrow. So I was just looking to see if I saw any roots. There's one or two at the bottom maybe. If I can tip it. Maybe you can see right there. There's one poking. I don't know. I'm gonna wait longer, see if it adjusts. It's gonna be, like I said, it's gonna be what it's gonna be at this point. Don't look at my door. I didn't finish painting it because I didn't like it that color. It's fine. But anyway, there's a couple other leaves in here growing that appear to look better than the crispy one I was showing you. I don't know if you can see them. Like this one, maybe. And then there's another one kind of here that may or may not do okay. And I can see some new growth actually down at the bottom, like little teeny growth points coming up from the base of the plant. Maybe you can see that one. I don't know. So this is what Homolamina camouflage, I think it's called. I kept calling it Selby. It's not Selby. It's not at all. I think Selby is much more pale green with some darker green edging. Maybe. The Billietier is really begging for a pull at this point. I've knocked this over probably 20 times in the last month, like every other day or so, honestly. So this was the previous newer leaf. This is the next one. I somehow didn't actually break it. It's got another one it's working on, and it's still in the same pot it's been in for the past, since I rotted it last time. I took a top cutting and just stuck it in soil, and it was like live or die. It's lived. So I need to maybe think about getting that on a moss pole. Like, this is an aerial root sticking out here. And if you look at the stem itself, it's good to go. It's ready. It has little nubbins that I'm sure would love a aerial root. This is the, I want to say this is Palmanii. I don't know, it was growing upright. It has Palmanii-like stems. I think it was labeled Pastazanum though. But yeah, it's doing okay. This is underwatering this yellow leaf here. And I actually broke this leaf. So I Velcroed it upright and it's actually holding its own now. I dropped a plant on it. Yeah, all right. Is that all of the updates? Maybe? Potentially? Go ahead and change this battery since it's dying / dead. Phew, I'm very hot in here today. It is 24.9 or 76.8 and the humidity is 50%. I don't know if that's showing. I'm trying to avoid a glare. Oh, the humidity was up to 53, but it was also down to 43. The humidifier's on, so I don't know. That's actually pretty low in here, considering I have the humidifier on. I feel like I have the heat on. We're gonna open some windows. I'm really warm. This one doesn't have a screen in it. It's got like a portable screen, you know, one of the old school ones you stretch across the window. That's what I've got for that window. And if I crack it too much, the cat will be out. He's never tried to get out. The little black one, Knox. He's never tried, but I'm always afraid. Okay, so sorry, reframing because I realized I wasn't showing the counter at all. Okay, so I've got some repotting. I've got a plant that I'm going to chop. Not the Monstera. I don't know why I'm pointing at that. I think I'm going to put that in some moss in preparation for shipping soon. Okay, I ran out of the awesome clear pots that I prefer, so my Dollar Tree, the Dallas Doe, the $1.25 tree, they just started putting out their pots and, you know, seasonal spring stuff. So I got a bunch of these. I think it was 10 for $1. Or I guess it's, oh no, it's 12, probably for $1.25 like everything else, right? But anyway, I figured I could use them. And I am sending out some Monstera aureas soon. This is in pawn, and I can't send in pawn. I guess I could, but that would be messy and heavy. So I'm not doing that. And then also, I think I have 2 or 3 trades with them. And this one has nice variegation. It is very much one hemisphere, one side of the leaf. And then, I don't know why this one took off so well. This one was still in perlite for quite a while. And it has 2 leaves and both appear to be all green to me. All green. I don't see any variegation in the stem either, the petioles. So I don't trust that this is going to be a variegated monstera. I'm not sending that to anyone. And then, where's the other one? I think I watered it. It's probably in the sink still. Hold tight. Here is the other one. It's a teeny tiny little thing. This one here has grown the slowest of all. Actually, there's still one in the prop box, in the perlite prop box, that I think just has a little point. But anyway, like, that's small. That's a wee fellow. And I can't tell if that's variegated or not. Once again, I'm not sending this to anybody looking like this. It's small, it's sad. It's probably not actually sad, but it's small and it's slow. So, I have that one. The one that's in pawn that's doing fine. This one just took right off. And then I have 2 others, which you've probably seen in tour videos. They've been around for a little while now. And then also I have this one, which I know looks ridiculous. This has become a mother plant. It was actually the same age as the other 2 older propagations. And I've propagated from this again for trades. And then we have a new branch coming off right now that is variegated. Once again, it's one hemisphere, one side of the leaf. But I would feel much more comfortable sending that to someone than something that is not variegated at all. It's all the right side of this plant, and on this plant it's all the, nope, it's left, then it's right. I'm guessing that's going to be the pattern. But yeah, and I see good variegation in the stem. So I'm going to cut these 3 leaves off. Can we see them? Maybe? I'm going to cut those 3 off. Sorry, I can't see that far. And plunk it in some moss and get some roots going, because I may have to send this one in the next few weeks if one of the others isn't cooperative. Also, this is well rooted into this, what is it, pawn and perlite, it looks like. It's well rooted in there. And I'm kind of afraid that when I switch it to moss, which I am going to do, it might set it back. So I'm a little hesitant, but I'm also, I have no idea how I'd send that without sending somebody a huge box of mess. There's not enough tape in the world. But, so that's what we're dealing with at this moment. I'm just going to cut this guy right off. Should I put it in water first? It might do better if I put it in water first. Maybe I'll do that. I can see where roots will come from, and it's actually got 2 empty nodes below, which will potentially also grow another plant if whoever ends up with it would like to do that, or, you know, other places to root from for now. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I'm gonna stick it in with the philodendron. I'm gonna stick it in with the Florida Beauties here. The Florida Beauties. That's it. I have some liquid rooting hormone too. I might put a few drops in that also. So this here, it's still not a spent node. Why does it look so terrible? This is the one that the dog ate when I was dog sitting for my oldest daughter when she was on a cruise. She brought her husky over, and that was a lot of fun. It was very unpleasant for the dog, by the way. I definitely don't suggest you let your animals chew on your plants. It causes severe mouth irritation. Don't induce vomiting. Do not, because it's just as unpleasant coming back as it is going down. But anyway, that's what happened to this plant. That's what happened to the dog. She's fine. She's fine. We were kind of terrified that she wasn't going to be fine, but she was. All right. And now I've cut my head off. Okay, sorry, framing issues. So that's that one. I was going to go ahead and put it straight into moss, but I don't know. I did water it recently, so it is hydrated, but I think I'm just going to plunk it in water, and then I've got a liquid rooting hormone. I'll probably put a couple drops in there, see how that goes. I don't know. These guys are giving me problems. This is the Emerald Dense. I say giving me problems. They're giving me stuck leaves is what they're giving me. And I'm having the same problem with this Philodendron Choco Red, El Choco Red, River Juvenile. Very stuck leaves. There's probably, I don't know, 7 or 8 plants in here, and almost every single one of them is like snapping rather than putting out the leaf, unless I notice it early enough and intervene. And then they still don't put out pretty leaves, they just don't snap that leaf. I don't know what to do with that. I still think I'm not going to do anything for now, which probably sounds insane, but we are coming into active growing season. I say I'm not going to do anything as I sit here and see if I can pull the sheath away from the leaf. And I can. Why is it not coming out of there? So it's stuck up here? I don't know. It's just hanging out in there. Can I pull it? Don't pull it. Leave it alone. Leave it alone, right? I'm not going to do anything. I thought I was. I'm not. For either of them. I did actually mist this one. I don't know. It's still stuck in there. I think a lot of people will say that that's humidity, or it's still air, or, you know, something like that. The humidity is usually much better in here than it is right now. Now it's at 46. It's got to be the candle. There's a candle sitting right in front of it. I don't know. But the humidity is usually much better in here. It's usually in the 60s year round, because there's so much moisture in the air. So I don't think it's humidity that's causing those stuck leaves. It could be underwatering or inconsistent watering. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I can make my guesses, but who knows. This plant here, we had potted this up a while ago, and when I pulled it out, we were looking at it, or maybe it was in my little mini tour of the plants I have in this room anyway. Not even all of them, I didn't show all of them. But I had said, oh, I think this is Campos Portuanum. It's not. I'm looking at it now, and I'm fairly certain that this is actually Philodendron glorious. I had just forgotten what it was. There's two of them in there. And they'll just grow together for a while until they get big enough to put on a moss pole, which will probably be around the same time that I repot the other one that I have on a moss pole, which also has stuck leaves wherever that's at. Where is that at? I don't know. That's how you know you have a problem, when you just lose plants. I guess as long as I see it the next few days, it's fine. Okay, and then I had this, I just hauled it last video as a matter of fact, Hipastrum reticulatum var striatifolium, yep, striped leaf amaryllis, that I said I wanted to split. So it's coming from a bulb in there. I can see at least one bulb. And I think there's two, or that it may have split, or, you know, put out another, because these two leaves towards the front are one, and then the three to the back seem to be another. Get it a little bit closer so you can see the plant I'm talking about. These two leaves I can see coming from a bulb. The other three back there just appear to be coming from somewhere deeper in the soil. So I'm going to pull that out, check that out, because I wanted to grow part of this indoors and part outdoors, because it is hardy zone 8 through 11. So I was interested to try this, and I don't think this will be anything that eats my yard. So let me move this, can you see it? Yeah, this laptop out of the way, or tablet, Chromebook, whatever it is. We'll stick it under the dog for safekeeping. Because here lately I'm on a roll with damaging electronics with water. So much fun for me. I don't know why, but yeah. Making a mess with water lately. I don't know if I told everybody or not, but I dumped water into my keyboard not too long ago. I just went and got another one. I got a wireless one this time. That way I can actually just move it off the table when I'm sitting down there at the table doing stuff. Little bulbs. All right. Let's see, I've got a random bin down here. I guess we'll use that. Or I say a random bin. 10-inch deep saucer. We'll put our soil in that because I'm not trying to put it back in the same soil. Nice roots. Let me see if I can hold that over there without dumping everything on the floor. Yeah, so decent enough. See how this is growing here. It is two separate little bulbs. Cool. So this is the smaller one. Cute. And then this is the bulb I could see sticking out of the top of the pot. Nice. And that soil is very dank. It's very smelly. Not bad. Not bad. My handy dandy soil bin up here where I can reach it. I've got way too much stuff on my counter, as per usual. Oh, and some of my cuttings aren't looking so good. Probably because they need water. I'm here. Might as well top that up. I didn't realize they were that low. I have one empty tube too. That means I can propagate something. Like I need more propagations. There are propagations everywhere. All right. Woo. Every time I open this, I say it smells like bleach. I don't remember bleaching this out. Actually, before I use this bin for soil, I make paper, like handmade paper, out of various things. And that's what I use this for. That's what it used to be used for. Yeah, I don't know why that smells like that. So I'm just going to pot these separately for now because it is still too cold for me to really want to plant anything outside. So I'm just repotting them in these little pots for now separately. I'm trying to get it about the same level below the soil as it was. I hope it does okay here. And I better label these because I'll be looking at them going, what was the name of these? I'm the worst. Like, I'll think of it eventually, usually like 6 hours after I need the name. Probably when I'm in bed, half asleep. Be like, oh, it was blah, blah, blah. Like Hoya linearis. I don't know why, but for the longest time, I could not remember the name of that plant. Couldn't remember it. I mean, it was there, but it wasn't there. It was there, but it wasn't coming to the front. Okay, so that's one. He's cute. Does it just split? It does. Okay, I can see where it's going to have another bulb split off of this bulb. I don't know, I'll come closer and show you what I'm talking about. This whiter spot here appears to be another bulb that's going to try to split off of there. I don't know anything about this plant. That's just me guessing, because that makes sense to me. So yeah, I don't know 100% that that's what's going on there, but I think it would be a reasonable deduction that that's what's going on. So that's cool. Once again, I'm going to kind of try to get this at the same level that it was, which this one was just barely visible above the surface of the soil. I cannot speak. Couldn't be the IPA. Surely not. I really love the foliage on these plants. You know, I don't have a single orchid left in my collection now. I used to have 3 or 4. And I had repotted them. I think that there's actually a video in, it's either August or October. I don't know what happened to September, but it was either August or October. The same time I repotted this alocasia. Still outside in my little gazebo thingy, my little screened-in room out there. But anyway, the first one pretty much immediately tanked. It was a little like a mini foul. That one tanked within a few weeks, and I just didn't do anything to save it. And then the other one, it's actually still hanging over there. I say I don't have any. That's not coming back. It's not. It's done. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. It's terrible because if I did something, it probably would. I'll show you. It's so sad. It's pretty bad, right? Yeah. And it's still trying so hard. Maybe I should do something with this. It had split and it had a baby kind of down under there. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I will. We're here anyway. What can it hurt? So it dried way too fast. I mean, it's in an orchid potting mix, but it just dried way too fast, even for an orchid. What I had it in was orchid bark and dirty moss. When I say dirty moss, I mean literally moss just mixed with dirt. The dirt kind of washes out, but it helps with a little bit of nutrients. So, and that's kind of what I've done to every poor little orchid I've had over the years. That one was doing great. That orchid is probably like at least 10 years old. It hasn't done great since August or October. And it's not the repotting that was the problem with that plant. That didn't offend that plant at all, I don't think. It was neglect. I hung it over there and I just forgot that it existed until I was just now talking about orchids, if you want the truth. So these guys here, they were hauled last video also. This is the Hawornia variegated, Hawornia zebrina variegated, and then this is the dead stick, which someone said looks like the the stick insect, whatever it is. I hadn't really thought about that, but yeah, kind of. If only it rocked in the breeze. But anyway, the soil's really about, like, this is slimy when I touch it. The soil on top. Oh, and it leaves a sludge on your fingers. And then this one here, it's just not seated in the pot well. So I don't know if I'm changing the pot size or not, but I am going to repot them right after I make tags for this other plant. Because I always forget. And then I can't remember the name when I need it. And it's not written on there anywhere. All right, you guys look out for a second. I'm just going to copy it right off there. 2 of them. Hipastrum. Reticulatum. I'm not going to do the Striatifolium, am I? Yeah, I am. I'm not going to do the common name. Because I think I'll remember that. Striatifolium. There's one. Okay. You set them aside to be watered. Somewhere where I'll completely forget them. I mean, the plan isn't to completely forget them. That's just, you know, the likelihood. I try not to. All right. I need you to give me just a little bit of wiggle room. Okay. Why don't I move some of this stuff out of my way? I just keep stacking things here. I'm still not sure what to do about this. It's going to have to go in something else. Soil might be the way to go. I don't know what the next owner plans to grow it in, though. Maybe I should message her. Okay, so it's down there for now. Where I'll definitely kick it. That's not smart. For now, for safety. Okay. I have my phone up here because I was watching Wild Fern. I don't watch a whole lot of PlantTube, but I do still watch PlantTube. So. Oh, that's got water in the bottom of it. Who was living in there? Oops. Mostly on YouTube, I watch craft videos, a lot of history. I'm a huge history nerd. I'm a science nerd. I am a STEM person. Earth sciences, geography, stuff like that. I kind of just geek out about it. All right, I think I'm going to put these right back in the same pots they're in. Let me dump my dirt. My used soil. I don't know if the pot size is wrong for them. For this one anyway, I don't think it is for either of them. It's just the gooey soil. Like, if I can hide my face, maybe it'll focus on what I'm trying to show you. But it's gooey. It's like a puck of muck. It's a mucky puck. Okay, it has some roots. It's not ate up with them. But, oh, that's strong. This is a much more dense soil than I would have expected. I mean, it's not bad. It just had apparently, like, to make it less dense, they had put perlite in it, which I do too. I'm just going to use the same soil for everything except for the Orchid when I get around to her. I'll move her up here for now. What does that smell? Something smells very perfumey, like flowers. I know it's not them trees my husband planted all over the yard. It's some sort of pear, Cleveland Select pear. My daughter says they stink. I can't smell them, but she says they stink. But yeah, what I'm smelling is definitely floral. Very floral. Overwhelmingly floral. I'm like looking at different Hoyas to see if there's a flower or something. I don't know, most of my Hoyas don't really have a smell like that. I think the only Hoyas I've had in bloom lately are Carnosa, different types of Carnosa. Which is weird because normally it's my Lacanosa, which they haven't flowered since early fall. Yeah. So that's that one. We put them right back in the same pot. Block my face, maybe it'll focus on that. And it's just because it's more well-centered and it doesn't look like green gunge on top. This one here, it's just floppy in the pot, and this is the Hawornia again. Just because it's loose, it's very, very loose, and it was leaning very, very one-sided. It's got decent enough roots. They're small roots, but they're there. They exist. So I'm just going to center it up in its pot. That is really floral. What is that? It's not that it's offensive, but it's strong, whatever it is and wherever it's coming from. It's not that candle, I assure you. It's Walmart brand. It barely smells like anything. Can you even see the candle? Maybe. Oops, I just put one of the wicks out. I said I was going to stand it up straight. Did you see me? I was going to lean it right back over. Yeah, I don't know what that smell is. I don't love extremely floral florals. Stupid. I don't mind the smell of flowers, but let's be reasonable. Oh. So much bark chunks. Which I don't think it'll mind the bark, but I do in a small pot. It's hard to get any soil in when there's bigger pieces of bark in. The smaller pieces are fine. I think it's going to rain again today. My side yard is a lake. If I can think of it, I'll sneak out there and take a picture before it gets dark. We've had a lot of rain. And I mean, it's seasonal here. That side yard is going to be wet until July, at least, usually somewhere in there. June some years, but mostly till at least 4th of July. And when I say wet, I mean there's probably a solid foot of water over there. It's normal. It's not anything weird. But it's problematic this year because I want to get in there and get some fill dirt, which I know is going to push the water somewhere else. But I'm planning on part of the greenhouse that I want to build is going to be in that area, I think. It's a shadier area of my yard, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because the greenhouse I currently have will get up to 130, and that's suffocating. Not only for me, but also the plants. So I'm hoping that dries up a little bit earlier this year. That, or I may have to rethink where I'm going to put this new greenhouse. Okay, so we've done these two little dudes. They're cute. We'll put them aside for water. And then this is an entire little cup of Syngonium red spot tricolor, pink spot tricolor. Pretty sure it's the same thing. And not that it's rooted that much. It was just giving me tiny little growth. Sorry, I'm trying to cover my face. Tiny little growth, because it was all trailing down. It was about a 3-foot vine that I chopped up, and it had some bare nodes, teeny leaves, and we're just gonna, it's gonna grow how it grows. I'm just gonna put it in here. I have so much of this plant. I went from having none to having like an absurd amount. This is the one that had the vine that I chopped off, and that's in Leca. That also could use some water sometime, Jen. Jeez. Now this one's in Leca, and then I have another one in soil. The one in soil is actually doing much better. This is just water with mosquito bits in it, or mosquito bit tea. No nutrient solution for this guy. I think the last time I filled it, I think I put some in then. some sort of semi-hydro nutrients. Anyway, where's the other one? And this is the one in soil, and like the new growth, even unsupported, is looking way better on this guy. So I don't like that this is so pink. I generally speaking, I don't like the color pink at all. Kind of hate it. Don't ever want to see it. But, you know, on a plant, it's kind of cool. It is fairly unique. What is that noise? It's like a ringing noise. It's pots clanging together by my fan. That's what it is. Yeah, I hate to sound like a hater. I hate being a hater. Pink isn't my favorite color, but it's kind of cool on plants. I just wish that, I hope that this plant doesn't decide to grow with a lot of mostly pink leaves like that. I do like the, you know, 4-lobe look. I don't know, that's kind of cool. This is the one that I keep saying I'm going to stick on a pole that I haven't yet. I have a pole over there. Maybe I should actually do that today. I need to order more poles. I feel like I say that all the time, but it's true all the time. I'm just taking these, even though some of them have tiny, tiny bits of root growth, some of them have none, and jamming them in this pot, just like I just did. That's the plan for them. Because like I said, I went from having none of it to suddenly I've got, there's more. There's more than what I've shown you. There's like 2 or 3 more. I think I gave one to my youngest daughter. She's the one who comes plant shopping here. So, the Emily, the little blonde girl, my little blonde girl. I think you've probably seen her Vlogmas if you've been watching for a while. She was on in Vlogmas, not the one giving my plants inappropriate names. She was the one we had a discussion about how we'd like to eat the Radlux cross, Anthurium Radlux cross, how we'd like to bite the leaves. Something about textures. She's very much like me in that regard. Certain things you just want to touch them. Her dad has more of a tactile thing. Like he's got to reach out and touch things that maybe he shouldn't touch, you know, including cactus. And then he's like, ow. I'm like, so yeah, we're all weird around here, I guess is what I'm saying. All right, that's that little guy. Block my face again. Maybe it'll focus on the plant. I don't know because I can't see. But yeah, it's cute. It's cute. I figure eventually if I give enough plants to my kids, maybe I'll have room for even more plants. Let's be honest, it doesn't matter. I will make room for plants. I will. I just love them. Okay, so here, these are a little teeny for this pot even. These little teeny green bulbs here, they're small. They're like the size of tiny alocasia small to medium alocasia depending on the type of alocasia, I guess. But they're not alocasia, they are the green spotted squill that I got. This one here has been out of the soil and just kind of sitting here for 5 or 6 days. I don't know, it's been sitting here for a while and it's not doing well. So I'm not going to pot this up. I probably could. It would probably be fine. Should I? Just to see, for the sake of science. It's not squishy, but it's not firm. But that could also be because it's been dry for days. We'll do it. We'll do it. For science. I'm just pulling out any really huge clumps of bark. I got a hold of some bark at some point that was enormous, so I'm just plucking those out. And I'm gonna pot them pretty high up. There's that much soil in this pot. I know I'm far away again. So I'm just setting them on that. I'm not pushing these bulbs down at all toward the outside edge, because they're generally speaking, they'd be happy being very high in the pot. I'm gonna put a sprinkle over them. I'm not filling this pot all the way up with soil. And that being because, as I said, they're generally happy sitting pretty high above the soil. So I'm just barely tucking that down. It's not poked in there at all. It's just kind of resting there. Can you see him? There we go. And I'm barely going to cover that. Because like I said, this plant, the way it grows, if you didn't see the last video I did, I'll show you, but it really, none of the plant is below the soil except for the roots, the way it grows. And that's normal. Don't try to bury it. So it's just got to kind of lean on the pot, and that's why it's not buried deeply into the pot. Because otherwise, how do you support it without a bunch of sticks? But there, like you can see, this bulb here, it really doesn't, no part of the plant is really below the soil other than roots, only roots. There's no stump or tubers or bulbs or anything like that growing down in the soil, I guarantee it. It's just roots in the soil, that's it. And that does make that plant happy. That's how it likes to grow. So we're gonna set him aside for water. You know, I don't actually know where my bark is. All right, well, let's see. I'm going to make the bark and stuff I have in there dirty again. What already exists in here. It's not doing anything for the plant. There's even a leca ball in there. I don't know about the leca. I can see where there's some old fertilizer. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, they're so dry. Do you see all these dry, dead, flat, decimated roots? It's sad. We're gonna cut them off. And I might actually plop it in water while I do some other stuff and just let those roots plump up a little bit. The ones that are left. Because there are those healthy silvery green roots do still exist on here. Some. I'm not going to say it's a massive amount, but there are some. Let's see what we're left with here. Let me show you how, oh, more leca. Show you how dry that is. It's sad. You poor thing. And I really do love orchids, so old flower spikes. This did flower pretty regularly for years. Oddly enough, it flowered a lot in the winter. Back when the only place I put plants indoors was my laundry room, or the only place I put bulk plants indoors. Now I can't fit. Just the smallest plants will fit. A lot of my plants have gotten too big, too bulky. And then a lot of the smaller ones, I generally don't put them in there because now I forget to go in there and check who needs water, or spider mites will take hold. It's just because I spend a lot more time with the plants that are here or in other rooms of my house than the laundry room. Because let's be honest, it's just me and my husband now. I'm in there once a week, twice a week, some weeks. It depends. But yeah, generally speaking, I don't hang out in my laundry room so much these days as I used to. But that's where my first YouTube videos were recorded. Does anybody remember that? It really hasn't been that long ago, but it seems like it. I'm not sure how long I've had this particular YouTube. 3 years, maybe? I'm gonna say 3 years. I think I actually signed up for this YouTube channel in 2018 or 19. I'm not sure. But yeah, when I looked at it, it was like 2020. I was like, no. 2020 I think was my first video. But yeah, or maybe December of 2019. That sounds right. Because it was right before the pandemic. Not too long before. But yeah, I used to record in my laundry room. It was the quiet place. It was where I could get time to myself to do uninterrupted plant things. Oh, that was green. My bad. Sorry. I'm gonna cut part of this like stem right off the bottom. Maybe. That's dense. That's woody. Okay. I was a little bit worried when I cut it and it was so hard to cut, but it was actually kind of woody, so we're not going to be left with a whole lot of great or viable roots here. But, you know, it's going to be either better than it was or it's going to die, and it was on its way there anyway, let's be honest. So I've cleaned it up some here, and there is still part of the baby left that might make it. So I'm going to pot it at a weird angle. Of course, it's me. And I'm actually going to put it into something that has less airflow, but where I can still see the roots. Because this here, I could have watered it probably every day and it would still look just as bad. So that's what I'm going to put it in now, is this, just a clear regular nursery pot. I'm going to pick out all the dead roots. We're going to recycle the potting mix otherwise, because I have no idea. Oh no, I do know where some moss is. Okay, maybe we'll do that. But I'll recycle some of this bark, I guess. We're going to make some dirty moss. Oh, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff in here because I was just steady cutting and picking away and dropping it right in here. Maybe we should leave that be. I don't want to cause any problems. Okay, moss. All right. Here's my moss. I'm just plumping it in here because we're going to make it nice and dirty and gross. And I have plenty of bark because I guess I've been pulling it out of, like, all these bigger pieces out of plants for I don't know how long, because I have plenty of it and it's all across the top here. So we're just going to get a hold of some of that. This also, it does not have systemic in it. A lot of you know I do use systemics periodically for problem plants, plants that I plan to keep indoors at least for the next 3 months. I try to not if I don't have to. Can you see what I'm doing? I don't know, I can't see that far. I'm just making a mess basically. I'm trying to pick out some bark hunks and a little bit of dirt, actually. Dirt, soil, potting mix. D, all of the above. All right. Good muddy, because it hasn't been a true day around here until I have mud caked under my fingernails. All right. And tip it back just a smidge. I'm not going to water this right away. It probably seems bizarre, but it's been very dry for a very long time. And this is actually very damp moss because I had just hydrated it for some moss poles I was topping up and extending. I'm just trying to poke some of it down in the gaps. That looks okay. I can't actually see any of the roots, and that might be a good thing. I don't know, but that's so sad. It's the saddest looking thing. I'll let you know if it actually does revive and come back at all. And the little baby one is right there, off to that side. It's kind of shaded, but it's under there, I promise you. So that's kind of why I've got it kicked back in a weird way. We're trying to give that thing room to grow. There's still some roots kind of at the surface. Gosh, I don't know. Y'all cross your fingers for that poor thing. Shame on me. Shame on me. And then this little bit that I didn't use, even with the sphagnum moss, I'm gonna pitch it back in the potting soil. I used to use a fair amount of sphagnum moss actually in my potting soil, particularly if I knew the plant was going to go in the greenhouse, because any little bit of moisture retention or something that was fluffy and allowed for like aeration was kind of great out there. Just things dry fast, and even with the fan, the air is, it's a still air environment for the most part, unless I'm constantly disturbing it, which I do, but yeah. Oh, so gross, so dirty. Toothpick. All right, I have this Madagascar jasmine. It just seems like it's in a small pot, I don't know. But we're gonna check it out, and I think I have an actual little trellis probably under this table here, and we'll see if we can't stick it on that. I'm sorry, I gotta clear some of this mud out from underneath my fingernails. I can feel it. It's thick, boy, it's thick. All right. Yeah, okay. I have one of these little trellises that I use for my Hoya. I wish I could tell you where I got these from. I cannot remember now. I answered that question in FAQ forever ago. I'm gonna say maybe I got them locally at Thomas Gardens in New Church, Virginia. I say locally, it's an hour away from me. But I think they were also available online, and if I can find that, or maybe if I have the forethought to rewatch that video before I post this one, I'll put the link. They do have a website, I'll put the link. It's a manufacturer one, I think, down in the description. But yeah, it's just, I think, a 12-inch trellis that's crooked. Yeah, one side's shorter than the other, the bottom bits. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. Is that something that's way too short for this? Not for today. But I just kind of want to see what the roots look like. Okay, so yeah, Stephanotis floribunda variegated, or variegated jasmine, variegated Madagascar jasmine. I want to see what the roots look like. Oh, they were pretty nice at the bottom of the pot there. See if I can get that closer. Maybe you can see them. Ooh, I don't know how they are. It's very loose soil, which I guess says something about this plant. Well drained. It's not dry by any means, but it's airy. Considering it's a very fine soil. There's no like bark or anything like that in here, but there's lots of perlite. Okay. Oop, I'm kicking my little vacuum down here by my feet. My little dustbuster thing, whatever that is called. The cordless vacuum. I'm not worried about getting all this soil off or anything. Just kind of trying to see what was going on with it. I think I am going to go up a pot size. I still have some of these larger clear pots left that, like what I just put the who's the poor orchid in. Let me go hang him back up, actually. What did I do with this hook? It's not in the same kind of pot anymore. It won't hang on its own. Nope. All right. I'll just stick it over there. Yeah, that didn't occur to me that this pot had holes in it, and that's how I was hanging it. So I couldn't hang him back up. Okay. Yep. Same soil for everything. I'm trying to get that piece of bark so that it sits, there we go, to keep that other end from like sinking down in the pot. It's not working very well for me. The short side of the trellis. All right. I'll get this stick here off in a minute. That's not going to work. It fell over already. All right, let's move it forward. How's that? Yeah, I'm not sure how much I can wrap this around the trellis, but I guess that's what's going to be happening for now. If it gets a little bit more roots, I will try to get a bigger trellis for it. But a bigger trellis will also require a bigger pot, so we need more roots. It's one of those things, like not a vicious cycle, but it's a cycle. One thing requires another. It has a lot of finer roots at the top than I realized. Like once I got in there digging around, there was a bunch of little short fine roots. So, and look at that trellis, it's already crooked. It's the story of my life. Crooked trellises. I have some trellises, the larger ones that I had curved to fit larger pots. I just wiped dirt all over my face. Somebody had asked where I got them from ages ago. It was Dollar Tree, and they still sell them, or mine does anyway. Dollar Tree? Yeah, Dollar Tree. And some of the welds have broken on those, like on my Hoya, I think it's latifolia outer variegated now. It used to be macrophylla albo variegated or something like that. But that trellis has popped its welds. So I have to cut that trellis apart to get that plant off of it. Which is, you know, not the biggest problem in the world, but it is a pain in the butt if you've ever had to try to cut a wire trellis apart before. As a result of me putting it off, that plant's not doing the best because I'm just putting off caring for it because it's on this trellis that has got wire sticking out that might stab me. It's not the plant's fault. It's my fault. It's my fault. It's the trellis's fault. Can we blame the trellis? No, not really. Because it lasted for years, so. Is there really anything for me to complain about? All right, where is the snaggle? The snaggle of plant Velcro. I have 5 of them around here somewhere. I will cut new Velcro. Don't test me. Okay, I didn't find the snaggle, but I did find a new roll of Velcro, so I guess that's what we're doing. And I just, no matter what kind of Velcro it is, this came with some moss pulls, I think. It's very green. I always just cut it down the center because I want very little Velcro showing. It's just my own personal hang-up for, I guess, aesthetic purposes. I'm going to pull this little stick out of here. It's just twisty tied on. Garden ties, whatever you'd call those. Have they got it tied in an actual knot? I might be able to tuck this part behind. Yes, I can. They do actually have it tied in a knot. Loosely, but it's like knotted around itself. And I don't like that. So of course that means I'm going to mess with it and hopefully not snap it or hurt the new growth. Ooh, okay, we're free. Except for that I just tied this back or pushed this back and locked everything into place. All right. Let's try that again. Push that back. I'm going to put my first tie over here. Yes. Actually, this should be the other way around. This on this side. Why did I make these so long? All right. I'm just Velcroing that on there. And then this one here, I'm going to do a larger loop one than what it was. So it's not quite so tight. Oh, I guess I could take the stick out. There we go. Just so it's not, I mean, it was coiled in a small coil. This is only slightly larger. As the plant grows, maybe I'll make it even larger. I don't know, we'll see. I'm hoping to just put it on a larger trellis. But I still haven't Googled this particular plant to see what it wants from me. Watch, I'll Google it and it'll be like, it hates everything you just did. I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, I don't know, but I don't think so. All right, it's still leaning. Where's some bark? Oh, there's a nice chunk of charcoal. Maybe that'll help that trellis from leaning to that side. If I can get it down in there. Sure. Ta-da. Yeah. And I'll just put it in a cover pot. That way I can spy on the roots. Anywho, this is Philodendron bipennifolium. And I chopped this up in, I don't know, either late November or early December. And it's been sitting in here. It's probably not even in water anymore. I don't know. I top it up when I think about it, which isn't often because this plant has never, oh my gosh, has never needed much. There's water in the bottom of the cover pot. It's in a jar. And I had, really soggy plastic wrap that I wrapped around the top to kind of keep some humidity in because it has adventitious roots or aerial roots everywhere. And I was trying to keep some humidity to them because I didn't want them all to die. Because I didn't know how this plant would do. I was tearing it off of a moss pole that was like the worst moss pole anyone's ever made. I probably had this plant 4 or 5 years. It was on one of the first moss poles I ever made, which was, look, roots are falling off up here at the top. It had a piece of PVC pipe. It was about 6 foot tall, PVC pipe, and it was wrapped with moss. And then I put like a mesh net around that. And it was horrifying to get off because it had somehow rooted into that. I gotta show you these roots. I wasn't expecting that. Can you see them? Everywhere. So I'm surprised. One side's kind of naked, but they're all leaning to the other side, I think. Ugh, I'm beating the screen up. But yeah. So Philodendron bipennifolium does not mind being chopped and thrown in a jar of water that I've never changed. I usually do try to change my propagation water. I just have to remember to either add more hormone or some Super Thrive or something to it. This I have not with this. This plant was least concern. It survived everything, and I was not terribly worried. I thought a couple would survive. We're getting ready to see how many have roots. I think it's going to be most of them. Oh. So, yeah, you can still see moss stuck on some of the roots. I don't see any rot. None. That's incredible. Incredible. Oh, some of the old aerial roots are soft, but they've branched above that. Yeah, they branched above that. Wow, that's crazy. There were roots stuck to the inside of this nasty jar, which I'll wash so that I can put something in there again to figure its life out for a while before I get around to it. Crazy. Okay. I hope I'm recording audio. Yeah, I am. I'm just gonna start pulling and looking. I'm gonna pot, gosh, I should pot them all up. Oh, they're so grown together too. It's like I'm holding one plant and it's just all stuck together. And this is why you shouldn't do this to your propagations. Oh, they're so tangled. All right, I'll just work my way around and loosen for a bit. Okay, there's our first one free. It's got some roots. And a new growth point. It doesn't look terrible. I'd wanted to put this, I'll set them in here for now. I'd wanted to put it right back on a pole, but I don't have many poles. I have a cocoa core pole, and I have the one that I was talking about putting the syngonium I was talking about putting the syngonium on. Yeah, this here, it had roots in the pole, this particular cutting, and it just took off. It's got a failed leaf here, but that doesn't really bother me too much. It's got another one coming right now. I'm gonna break that whole failed leaf off actually, because it's not gonna hurt anything. Like, they went nuts in there. Wow. Wow. I left them way too long. Yeah, this is the one of the, I think this is the piece I was squishing on that I said didn't look great. But it's branched up above that where it's live. Where's my scissors? There's my scissors. So I'm just gonna cut it off. Is there any more on that one? Yeah, there's one higher up that didn't branch, so I cut that right up against the plant. Is there more? That one just came off. The rest of them look good. Oh, there's an aerial root up here that quit. Oops. So we'll cut that whole thing off. It's no good. We don't need it. We don't need it. I'm just cutting other ones off that are dried because they're not going to do anything. Not now, not in the future. But yeah, that looks pretty good. Like the amount of roots on there. Super surprised. Wow. One of these has a lot of roots. Is it both of them or one of them? Are you stuck together? Have you become one with nature? Yeah. Plenty of roots there. This one is another one that I'm going to cut it because it just didn't look good below where it had branched off. Some of these don't. That's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. This is one. Cutting that right back to the base of the plant. Somebody calling me. I hear my phone going off. Oh, it's a text message. I'll get it in just a minute. If I remember. I'm the worst. But yeah, that's got a ton of roots. And this was a mid-cut with a couple nodes, and it's grown one leaf and another one coming already. Like, I guess maybe you can see. That's kind of cool. This plant is enthusiastic. I'm trying to set it on fire too, apparently. Oh, okay. So this one here was multiple nodes. That one's no good. Root. The root. I'm gonna cut it right below where it branched. The same with any other ones that I find. I might even cut it above if it has multiple places where it branched from, just to kind of head that off at the pass. That one's not rotting or anything, but it's not doing anything either. This one here has grown this new plant, or this new part of the plant, plus it's got another growth point down in here. May or may not be showing that well. I don't know, I can't see that far. But plenty of roots also. Well, okay, these, where they're growing roots out the side, I'd really rather wait on these ones for a pole. Because otherwise, you know, when you put it in a pot, so much of it is going to be just in the wind, you know? Or do I cut it? Do I cut it more? I don't know. Decisions. What would y'all do? What would y'all do? Would you continue cutting because it's rooted from everywhere? Like this, the ones that have multiple nodes that have rooted from multiple nodes. That there I could easily get in a pot. Okay, so we'll set that here because I can easily get that in a pot. That one will be fine. This one here too, I think, because the roots are lower. This must have been way down in the water or something. And then this one is one that has roots halfway up the side of the plant. Like this one. That one's not terrible. It's only the bottom two nodes that are rooted. I think I can get those in pots easy enough. These two, the roots are so high up the side of the plant the side of the cutting. All right, don't set it on fire. Let me set it down here because there's a candle over there burning. Fire. Fuego. Okay, so I might, do I pot them all together for now until I do get some poles? I think I might, and I might try to get them all facing the same direction, which is going to look really weird, but the side that will go onto the pole eventually will be that side. The front will look bizarre. It's fine. That's what I'm going to do. Hopefully I can fit them in one of these pots. Probably by the time I get some poles here, I will have to repot it into a 6-inch pot, but that's okay. I'm not adverse to that. I think these are 4-inch, maybe, no, these are probably closer to 5. What are they? Instead of guessing, let's figure it out. They're 5-inch. Oof. They might go in 8-inch pot when the poles get here. But for now, I just want to get them in some soil because I keep forgetting to top up the water, as I said. And that wasn't great for them or anybody. This candle is going to cause me problems. More problems. I already have enough problems. Okay, so I set that over there in the floor where I'll kick hot wax everywhere. It's fun. Hopefully I won't. I'm just trying to get it where I won't dunk a plant in hot wax. Some weird kinky plant torture. I'm not trying to torture any plants. All right, so I'm gonna put them in here. All 3 of them together. I don't think it needs very much soil in the bottom because they're well rooted already. But I am gonna try to get them all facing the same direction because I think the roots will all try to become one on me. And rather than rip them apart again when it comes time to repot them, if they're already kind of facing the right direction, that would be ideal. Don't spin. Nope, don't push your friend out of the way. Okay. So the idea is to have the side where the leaves aren't generally trying to face, where the where the aerial roots are trying to face, have that towards the side where I am going to put a pole in the very near future. So this plant actually did very good on it. It didn't size up the most massively, but I think that's a lot, says a lot about my neglect and not the plant. I don't even know how big bipennifolium gets. Some of these have decent sized leaves. None of them are huge. Is that cobweb or spider mites? Cobweb. Imagine that. It's only been sitting around for 5 months. I don't know, it's been sitting around a while. But yeah. The side where the roots will most likely come from, or it appears they will come from, I want that side towards what's going to be the pole. I mean, roots are coming from all the way around these, don't get me wrong, but I just think it'll be easier with the majority of the leaves out of the way. And they do seem to be facing this way, so I'm going to continue to encourage them to face, you know, this way until I can get it on pole. I'll bring it a little bit closer, except for this leaf apparently, so you can maybe see what I'm talking about. So I'm not the best at explaining things. I try hard. I get an A for effort, right? Why do they always say A for effort? Shouldn't it be E for effort? Okay. Okay, so this would be the back, and then this part would attach to a pole, this part would attach to the pole, and this part would attach to the pole. Hopefully you can see for that leaf. And the leaves are mostly facing, you know, this direction. Mostly. It looks a little awkward, but in my little pea brain, that's what's going on there. That's what's working. You know, time will tell. Okay, and so then these other, what is it? Is it only 2? I don't think I saved the bottom of this plant. I'm pretty sure I didn't. These two I will probably put maybe on a DIY pole, but I'm not DIYing another pole today. More water. They have to go in a deeper container of water now, but it's okay. I'll just put them right back in this instead of in the jar that I had sitting in this, and I'll put some water in there and let them ride a little bit longer. Hang in there, buddy. Hang in there. Okay, that's taken care of. Oh, I forgot. I should have brought that in there and watered it while I was at it, huh? Derp. Here we go. You're fine. Okay, I guess we'll fidget with that syngonium. I'm putting it off. It's the moss pole. Okay, I got this moss pole from Amazon. They come in a roll, it's like 6 of them. And these, I got them from the same company, but they're different. They're different, so I won't be linking these below because there's no consistency in the product. And when I say they're different, it has a solid piece, whether or not that's supposed to be the bottom or the top. It's solid, there's no grid there. It's shorter on this particular one. And also these poles, once you folded them up and stuffed them with moss, they're deeper. They're about this deep. Like the back is about that deep. Whereas on the other ones, it's about that deep. It's, you know, they're different. So when you go to stack them, they don't match up. They don't match up. One is much bigger when you go to stack them one on top of the other, like to extend them. And that's inconvenient because the smaller ones were the ones that came first. So these don't fit inside, they fit outside. And when you're extending a moss pole, you don't really want it to fit outside because then when you water the moss pole, the water just runs out the bottom of the larger pole. It doesn't actually go inside the bottom section, which is not ideal. So that's not ideal. It just makes it more difficult to water. I'm just bending it. It's got like it's scored so that you can bend it into the shape. So it's more of a flat sheet before you bend it. And another thing with these is I keep bending it on the grid because that's where it wants to bend. It doesn't want to bend where it's scored, which is a little of a pain in the butt. I'll fight with it a little bit. Manhandle it. Manhandle your moss poles. All right. And these ones also have a weird little punch out in the bottom for some reason. Is that to lock it in place? What's that for? Am I going the right way? Yeah. I had to think about it. I like that these are deep because it stays, you know, damp even longer in there than the ones that aren't so deep. However, the stacking them extensions are not ideal with this. Two different types coming from the same seller, or two different sizes coming from the same seller. Even though they're technically the same height and width, the depth is different. Does that make any sense? I'll grab two in a second, kind of show you what I'm talking about. But yeah, I guess maybe I should have read the comments. The ratings were fine, but maybe that's because nobody had tried an extension with that particular seller yet. I don't know. Either that or maybe somebody's found a workaround. You can't really cut them down in that direction either. Otherwise, you either lose your slot or the fin that goes in the slot. So they're not like adjustable in that way. I don't know. They're not hard to put together. It's just me. Getting everything clicked in. Okay, so I'll show you closer. Like, I do like this depth. There's plenty of room there, you know, for moss and to retain moisture. It clicks together. These little, oh, Put my hand behind it. I don't know if that helps. But there's a little arrow-shaped piece right here that fits into this slot. So they're really easy to put together. But before I start stuffing this one, let me show you two different ones that are supposed to be the same. All right, so that's my Florida Beauty. And then this is the Monstera expellata. They look pretty similar from the front. They're very similar in height. Actually, there is maybe a 1/4 inch difference in height, which I had not noticed until now. The grid is the same. It's 5 across. They look the same size. The way they go together is the same. Everything looks the same until you look at them from top down. And it's not a huge difference, but it's enough that if you tried to stack them, like one is bigger than the other. And unfortunately, there we go. It's the newer pole is larger, so it doesn't fit down into the older style pole. Let me show you the ends. Maybe you can see the difference in size. I'm not sure what it's focusing on, but I'm attempting to show you. It is different. And it's just enough to be annoying. I mean, what I think I'm gonna do if they continue to send this size pole, I don't know if it's just an off thing, like a weird batch or what, but it's at least an inch difference in depth, maybe 3/4 of an inch. What I'll do is I'll probably cut it to funnel it into here. Like cut it, you know, slot it here. The larger pole, I'll slot it, well, I guess at the bottom, but I'll slot it on the corners and like curve it until it does fit in there, and then just brace it with a garden stake, because I don't know how else to burn that bridge. So yeah. And honestly, since I started using these poles, I'm trying to think. The plants that have most enthusiastically grown into it is actually the not Monstera, the melanochrysum, Philodendron melanochrysum. I can see roots around the back of that pole. It's been a month. And the Jose Bono. I also have Glorious, Splendid, Pastazanum, Florida Beauty, Pothos, White Princess. I can't even remember what all I have on those poles, but anyway, we're also getting ready to have Syngonium. I'm sorry, I'm trying to lose my voice now. This Syngonium, which this one particular vine is probably going to be pushing it, but the other ones, I'm going to try to finagle them on there. Oh, we have roots all around the bottom. Okay. Let's see, what am I going to put that dirt in? I say that dirt, I'm sorry, I know that drives some folks crazy. Soil, potting medium, whatever you prefer. It's just my way of talking, don't mind me. But yeah, I'm gonna get that in here. It's not that old. I can't remember when I repotted this. It wasn't that long ago. It was just drying out too quickly. It was in like a 4.5 inch nursery pot maybe. It's drying out real fast. I got frustrated and stuck it in a bigger pot. And it wasn't like root bound or anything then. It's not root bound now either, but it was rooted okay. I just want to get it on a pole, so it might even go right back in that same pot. Another thing about these plastic moss poles, whole plastic poles, I kind of do wish that the grid went all the way down, because then moisture is just accumulating in here and taking longer to dry, but there's no roots in here for the most part, at least not when you first put it in there. And also where it's slick, I have a bad habit of picking moss poles up. That's how I pick my plants up. A lot of the times I just grab the moss pole and take it to the shower or whatever. This is slick. This is slick. So a lot of times I can see the plant move and I'm like, eh, so I have to actually pick it up by the pot. It's just, I have to retrain myself. That's all. It's not a huge inconvenience. It's just something I have to be aware of and think of every time I pick up a plant. So I've started kind of like notching that. I'll show you what I mean, just so that it's not so slick, because I'm definitely accidentally going to grab it. That's a lot of really decent roots though. There's nothing wrong with the darker ones, they're just older. The lighter colored ones are newer, that's all. Just since I put it in this pot a month ago, if even that. Things are growing kind of like crazy up here right now. They did not when I first brought them up here, but they've been up here a while now and they're like, yes! Humidity, light, warmth, extreme warmth. Okay, so when I say I'm gonna kind of notch the pole across this front section, I don't mess with the back too much because I need that for the stability of the pole in the pot, you know what I mean? So I don't really cut on that too much. I cut a couple notches across the front. So about a 1/2 inch from this edge, about a 1/2 inch from this edge, and then maybe 3/4, then maybe 3/4. And then I take them, fold one back, fold one forward, fold one back, and then I just kind of pull them down. Can you see how I folded them? And it's just because it helps with a little bit more friction in the pot so that I don't snatch it clean out. Does that make sense? So that if I do pull on it a little bit, at least I can go, oh wait, you know, I have enough time to think before I've snatched the whole thing out of the pot. In my pea brain, as per usual, in my the little workings of my pea brain, that makes sense. And I've done a couple of them like that now. And it does seem to grab better, help more. All right, my soil bin, and I'm just gonna slide some right on down through there. I'm just gonna tilt it back and shovel it in until we get up to the point where I want it to be, which is basically at the level of the pot. Or a little above is fine too, because I don't think the lower nodes on the plant will do much as far as grabbing it for now. So it's just about at the level of the pot. Where's the chopstick? I don't know where my chopstick, oh, there's my chopstick. It's a handy dandy tool. There's some bark or something from keeping it from going all the way down, or, you know, settling. No else fails, thump it. Thump it. All right, got my plant. Oh, what's this from? Oh, the saran wrap. Okay, well, we'll recycle this to hold that. It's 2 pieces to hold this onto the pole. Which first I'm gonna get it onto the pole and then we'll stuff it with moss. Whew, maybe it'll fit in here. It will if I'm careful and gentle. I don't really want it to be so reliant on the roots in the pot anyway. I want it to learn to rely on roots in the pole. Okay, so right in there. Why? Why do I wait until I have my hands occupied before I figure my life out? I don't want to. I kind of want this one to go to this edge because it's only 5 grids across, so those are your options as far as where to put it. Does that make sense? And also, when you're trying to get them on the outside edge, there's no other hole to go through on the outside edge, so unless you make one, which you can. Wow, there's some cold air coming in that window now. Is it cooling off? Not really, it's still 24.6 or like 76.3. Something like that. That's plenty warm. It's just a cool breeze that came in all of a sudden. I still cut this entirely too long. Entirely. I'm not gonna trim it though. Because why would I? I'll trim this one though before I use it. It depends on whether it goes through a whole grid or half a grid, which would mean you'd only grab one post piece. All right, and this one here is not used to going up, so we're just gonna loosely lift it slightly. I do this a lot. I have plants that are leaning, and I'll slowly pull them upright. Sometimes it takes a couple hours. I've never really had it take any longer than that. But yeah, I'll just keep slowly pinning it until it actually goes, oops, up where I want it. I still have another piece here. What am I doing? What am I doing? Nobody knows. Not even I. Oops, let me go to this side. These might be the only two I can do for now. Oop, come back. Now see, I think this one's too short. 'Cause I'm struggling. We're gonna make it work. We're gonna make do, okay. So that's on there. And then there is one other like little viney bit in here, but it's at the front, and I think it needs to vine a little bit more before I can convince it to go back there where I want it. Well, I think. This smells really weird. You know, like philodendrons have a kind of astringent smell to them. This smells a little bit like peanut butter. I think. Humble opinion. Peanut butter. Okay, so this is looking a little ridiculous. You can see this one here, this piece, is the one that I'm saying I need to slowly coax upward, and I will. It will get there. And I'm just kind of tucking the roots down. I was getting ready to fill it with moss. Maybe I should go ahead and fill it with soil first, because that'll help keep the pole from shifting on me so much. If I actually get the plant settled, huh? Or settled-ish. Yeah, let's do that with its peanut butter smell. Peanuts, I swear, it still has kind of an astringent smell, but also peanuts. It's very strange. Have you ever grown peanuts? My mom used to grow peanuts. I've never tried. I've tried to grow a lot of things, but peanuts has never been one of them. I like peanuts just fine. I've just never tried. It's a big thing in my area. Like you can get, down in Virginia here, you can get boiled peanuts like right on the side of the highway all summer long. And they're good. If you like peanuts. Them highway peanuts are delicious. I wouldn't fib to you. I've never gotten botulism from it, or dysentery, or whatever you get. I don't know. Found a peanut, found a peanut, found a peanut just now. Ever heard that song all the way through? Or sang it in school when you were a kid? Yeah. None of that's ever happened to me. Appendicitis, or however that song goes. Y'all don't mind me. Okay, I'm gonna call that good. At least until I water it, and then we'll see if it wants to settle in a weird way. Sometimes they do. Okay. Gosh, so much dirt. I'm such a mess. Y'all, thank you for still appreciating me and hanging out with me, even though I'm a train wreck. All right. Got really soggy moss. I don't know if you can see the water wringing out of that, but it's soggy. I'm just gonna dry it up a smidge. And I drop little bits in at a time, even though that seems to take forever because it settles better than trying to pack big gobs in at a time when you fill the moss pole after you've connected plants. But I like to do it that way because if the plant already has some aerial roots or adventitious roots, it's a little bit easier for me to work them in, plus for me to strap them on and get the Velcro through without the moss being in the way. So that's kind of why I do it in the weird way that I do it. And then I just take my little handy dandy chopstick and kind of smush it down as I filled to fill any gaps and to compress it slightly. I mean, I don't want it packed solid. I just want it kind of firm and filled, you know. There are some that I have that I've looked at, like I've spun it around and been like, oh, I did not push any moss down. Mostly the round type. Can you see that one? No, it's off the edge of the screen. But the round moss poles, the DIY ones I was making for the last couple years. Like, I guess I just wasn't paying attention to the back of the pole. Usually I fill them before I close them up, but sometimes I don't fill them all the way, especially if I have a 3-inch plant. I'm not going to take the time to water 3 feet of moss. So it's easier just to fill it to the point that I need it to be filled to. I'll put it that way. All right, now I'm going to poke this down a little bit. Try not to stab any foliage. I make no guarantees. Okay. More moss. I wonder if I have any more moss. I'm looking at the amount I have in this bin here, and it's not a whole lot, actually. I feel like I just put a whole, brick of moss in here. I'm looking to see if I've set another one somewhere. I thought I had another one. If this is it, I need to go to the stove. I need to go to town. Again. I feel like I'm always running somewhere for plant stuff. I do some shopping online. Don't get me wrong, I do plenty of shopping on Amazon. I do some plant shopping, like actual plants online, but for the most part, if I'm out and about and I see it somewhere, I'll just grab it there. I mean, it's lovely to get it in 3 days, but most of the time I don't need it in 3 days. By the time I notice that I need it, I need it. So, I don't know. And I put things off too. That doesn't help. I don't have a lot of foresight. Oh, look, my hand fits in this one. Better than it fit in the other ones. I actually did repot some with the other moss poles in a video, I don't know, maybe January, I can't remember, but I had a hard time getting my hand down in there. It was like scraping my wrist up, the pole was. So, and these don't, they're a little wider. I wouldn't really mind whether it was the wider one or the more narrow one. I ordered that particular pole again, thinking it would be that particular pole. I didn't think it would be different, so. And I need to order more, so hopefully it matches one of the two, this next order I make, because I'm going to order from the same seller again. I don't hate the pole, I just hate the inconsistencies, if that makes any sense. I'm going to go a little higher than that just because it's easier for me to. The bigger the gap is when I put a cup or a bottle or those stakes in, the stake won't actually reach the moss to water it that way. And the cups or bottles will tend to kind of spew to one direction or another. They don't always just drip straight down. So if it's a little higher, it's better than it just shooting straight out the front of the pole and hitting nothing. So I'm going to go a little higher. That is my only problem with moss poles that aren't filled as high. is sometimes it doesn't drip straight, and it can be unpredictable where that stream is going. I'll put it that way. All right, that's not too bad. I'm gonna leave it there because the cup will go down a few inches, you know. So I'm gonna leave that there. As far as the level of moss goes, I don't have much left. I've got mostly water in there. Cover that up. And set that to the side. My soggy bin. Halfway tidy this. Where's that other soil bin? There we go. Refuse. Compost bin. I've got a whole, like a 15-gallon bucket over there of, you know, compost. Whether it's dead leaves, moss, old potting soil, whatever. And you'd be surprised how fast I fill that up. Really fast. All right, so I'm gonna see if I can't pull this a little bit straighter now. It's got moss all over it. Not much. All right, so I'm gonna slide it through here and then put some upward pressure on it. I'll get it eventually. Sometimes it takes a while. I think, I'm trying to think which one was the hardest one. It's probably monsteras, like deliciosa. Once they get growing in a weird direction, they're pretty hard to whip into submission. That's not doing anything, is that? Nope, surely not. Maybe I'll try that there. I'll show you what I'm doing. I realize I'm far away again. Well, I'll show you what I've done, rather. Because I didn't think to set up the second camera. Right there is the bend. And it was growing pretty much downward, or what would appear to be downward from here, which was upward when it was vining. But I've got it right there to kind of slowly lift it upright. And it looks pretty bizarre right now, but have faith. It will get right. It will be lovely. Like, look at how low-y that particular new leaf is. It's so pretty. Splits on splits on splits. It is. All right, so I'm gonna water this and find it a cover pot. Didn't I have it in a cover pot? Yeah, I had it in a clay cover pot. Okay. Or terracotta. I quit planting things in terracotta because they just dry like nobody's business around here. Even in higher humidity, I had a hard time with them. Okay, let me go take care of that. This Monstera Thai constellation, which needs water, it's really white. Like the places where I would have expected to be that cream, very, very pale yellow color are white on this one. This is the third one I got. But, I mean, it's pretty. I just don't like, sounds weird, I don't like the white. I don't like the white. We all know what happens to big sections of white. This is the newest leaf, so I'm kind of paranoid that this creamy yellow color is going to turn to white like it has on the previous leaves. So I don't know. I don't know. Does anybody know what's up with that? The other one, this one here, it's the cream sections have remained cream. Like, I don't know if you're seeing any difference on camera, but I assure you, that's the way it is on this one. I don't know. Maybe it's just the higher variegates, the ones that have higher variegation, tend to look more white. Is that a thing? Somebody tell me. I've only had Monstera Thai constellation starting last year, so I'm not super familiar with this plant. I've only had it 6 or 7 months, I think, the oldest one I have. So, but anyway, that's just a comparison of 2 of them. But anyway, we're gonna extend the moss pole on Monstera. Is this Siltepecana? I want to say Siltepecana, because it's doing okay, but it's off the top of the pole. It's needed an extension for probably a few weeks now, and I just haven't gotten around to it. This is also the one that had thrips, and I know I say all the time, I'm not fighting thrips, I'm throwing that plant away. And I could have done that, I guess, but they were actually fairly easy to get rid of on this plant. So, I don't know. My battery's dead again. Okay, yes, I was saying thrips. Sorry, this fan. Thrips are one of the hardest pests for me to get rid of. And they were doing a number on this plant pretty quickly, like out of nowhere. And if you don't know what thrips damage looks like, I'd say look for misshapen leaves, browning, speckles. It looks like pest damage. I don't know how else to explain it, really. If you Google it, they have lots of images of actual thrips. I'd say little tiny white cigars. That's the thing I see most, is I guess it's a larva. I can spot those, and I can spot adult thrips. Anything other than that, I won't even see the damage half the time. I'll just see the little cigar-shaped larva. That's usually the #1 sign for me. But anyway, this is can you even see the top of this pole? Maybe? Yeah. I'm gonna add it to that. And this was in something else. So the soil level was to here, and this was the top at that point. I think I'm just gonna stuff the bottom of it, make that still the bottom that's going to go on the top of this pole, and leave this as it is. I just watered this yesterday or the day before, and it's crunchy. It's dry. So I don't... DIY poles, they definitely work, they do the trick, but for the winter, I have a hard time with them because they dry so quickly. But that's what I've got, so that's what I'm using. Of course I walked by and kicked the camera. Why wouldn't I? Alright, so I don't have over much moss left. I just showed that a minute ago. But I'm gonna work with what I've got. And it's really soggy because we're down to the bottom. So I'm just kind of wringing it out over here in the bin. I'm going to pack this in pretty good and get it all over the floor. Because, I mean, if you're not making a mess, are you really doing plant care? Hey, no. Boy, I hope I have enough. I don't know if I do. Because not only do I have to pack the bottom of this, but I also have to pack the top of that. It's about 1.5 to 2 inches from the top on that pole. I don't have enough. Oh no, I may have to go hunting for moss. Or do I rob it from a different pole? Oh yeah, I do. No, I don't. I thought I had a pole I could rob it from. I don't. Okay. What I found was this propagation bin. Should be empty, except for moss. We'll see. Hasn't been opened in 6 months. Yeah, empty. It's been outside in my gazebo since that video I was talking about earlier. That was, ooh, it's really cold. August or October, I can't remember which. Yeah, I don't even see any leftover nodes in there. I must have actually took the time to pick them out. Surprised there's not ice in it. It's that cold. I'm gonna plop it in the warm water in the other moss bin that I had, just to kind of level out that temperature a little bit before I start stuffing it into the top of this Monstera Siltepecana's pole, where it's ice cold. So, but yay, I have a new propagation bin, or a fresh empty one, or I will once I clean it. Okay, I was seeing black spots down there on the bottom. It's like leaves. It seems like the moss I get comes with all kinds of weird free additives. Sticks, leaves. I haven't found a finger yet, so I'm happy of that, at least. I'm just mixing this moss in with the moss remnants I had, and I might let it come up to room temperature a bit because that's still really cold. Really cold. I'll put it in the end of this pole, but either way it's still going to come up to temperature a bit before I shock that Monstera sultipacana with it. So that's the end of this pole. Pretty full because it has to butt up to the other one pretty well. Pretty snugly. I'm gonna set that here for a second, and I'll go find my zip ties and let that warm up, and maybe I might need a garden stake. I don't know, we'll see. Okay, it's been some time, but I found found the handy dandy zip ties. The moss that I have here has been slowly coming to room temperature, or as close as I can get it in a short period of time, and I forgot a garden stake, but hopefully we'll be okay. We'll see. Ooh, that's still really cold. It's not miserable to put my hand in, but it's not warm, the moss. But I'm gonna go ahead and tuck it in there. I think it'll be okay. It's not freezing cold anymore. I think it's in the 40s outside currently, Fahrenheit. So, you know, not quite warm and toasty yet. We're still having lows in the 30s. We were doing really good there for a while. It was up in the upper 60s, lower 70s. I think it got up to mid 70s even one day. And then that was just, you know, false spring, fake spring. So let's see, I've got 4. That should do it. Ooh, ooh, ooh. And I'm just gonna kind of try to line it up, if I can find it, to line it up. Oh, without ripping all the leaves. There we go. Somewhere in that neighborhood. Oh, it's gonna be a leaner. I'm not gonna be able to line it up. Sometimes the way my poles come together, they don't come together quite right, which means that they lean to one side or the other. So in order to stack them, I have to like contradict the lean. Does that make sense? And that's fine. It just means that the zip ties aren't going to all be on the same side, the ones that like close the pole itself. And that's okay. If I just had one more hand, I'd be unstoppable. I say that all the time, and that is so true. I think the last time I tried to do this on camera, I missed the grid and zip tied just one side, not the other. I got it this time though. Aha! All right, and turn. Yeah, I've been needing to do this for a while. I just tend to put plant chores off. And I say chores, but really, what I really mean is care. I don't view it quite the same as the chores, like AKA doing laundry, dishes, cleaning my room, you know, those kind of things. But nevertheless, everything does take time. Everything takes a portion of your day. But this is a portion of my day I choose to spend on this particular thing. This is definitely going to need a sturdy cover pot. So what y'all been up to? Is anybody doing any gardening, like outdoor gardening? I'm thinking about it. I've got a lot of stuff started, like, you know, seeds. And I'm getting ready to put my tarp down, which I should have had it down sooner. Wow, this is really not lined up well. It's gonna be all right. I'm gonna have to find a stake though for it. I should have had my tarp down a few weeks ago, you know, to kind of help kill off the grass. But I didn't, so I've got to go out and do it now and hope for the best. It just makes it easier. What's going on? A little bit easier when it comes time to turn the soil over. This is gonna be the most crooked pull ever. It's fine. Everything is fine. Be better if I could get my finger in there to get a hold of the end of the zip tie. There we go, I got it. All right, but yeah, so I need to do that. I wanted to do it today, but it's been cold and windy and wet, and who wants to go outside in that? This is so crooked. Most of them are actually leaning pretty well up against the pole, so I don't think, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna bother to pin them. So I think they're gonna figure it out just fine on their own. We'll wait and see. We're gonna let it ride and see how that goes before I start trying to chase the vines up the pole. There are some that are still way down there. Like I said, I actually did cut it back some when it had thrips. Thrips is the hardest pest for me to get rid of. And if I don't see noticeable progress pretty quick on, I do just give up. I do just give up. If it's a plant that I really don't want to give up on, then maybe I'll take some cuttings and throw them in a prop box or something, but even that's no guarantee. Thrips are just really problematic to get rid of. Systemics work, but I don't always want to use systemics on something. I like to put my plants outside seasonally, and I care about my local ecosystem, so I don't want systemics in my outdoor plants. That's just my personal choice. I would recommend that to anyone, but I'm not the boss of you. So, yeah. And on my crooked floor, it looks even crookeder. But I'm going to tuck it probably back in that corner where I had it. It will tower over the trellis that's in the, in the back of that. This is as high as I can hold it. It's hitting the ceiling. But I think it'll be okay. And hopefully by the time it gets to about here, we'll start seeing a noticeable difference in those leaves again. I mean, they were small when I put it on here. And they have been getting larger, but like I said, where I chopped it and it had thrips, it had a little bit of a setback. It's okay. It's pretty. It's still pretty. We still love her. Him. It. Them. Yep. Sure. That's great. I'm just going to put a little bit more on the top of that pole and leave it kind of looser, because I think it'll help with drawing the water down into the tighter packed moss. Does that make sense? So this is the pole here that we're working with. And I'm just kind of going to leave it loose on top. I'm not really going to pack it down too far. I might push it down, but I'm not going to pack it down, if that makes any sense. Boy, I'm just raining moss everywhere. Making it rain. Okay. I'm just going to push it down without really making it snug. Boy, this light is blinding me. Just because I think it will help that this is just a little bit higher. And when I put the cup in the top there, where you can barely see, there's barely room. I mean, it's a 6-foot pole, so it might be a 6-foot 3-inch ceiling. And that light is blinding. But that's what I'm doing, because I think the looser moss will help absorb without it running off so fast. Does that make sense? My poles get dry really quick and water will just kind of like roll to the edge and run down. My poor crooked everything. My poor crooked house. There we go, golden. All right, I think that's me. That's a lot of plant chores in I was gonna say a short period of time. For you, it'll be a short period of time. For me, it's been most of the day. It's dark outside now. It's well past dinner time. I can't remember what time I started recording, but it's 7:30 now. So I'm going to go make some food. We're gonna have breakfast for dinner, I think. I'm gonna go do that, and then I'm gonna edit this video, and you guys should see it shortly. Thank you for hanging out with me, and come back and check me out again soon. Bye.